Hello everybody, more exploring today in Slobodski district. So you can see I'm showing you down that street there. That's where the main road was. If you saw my videos previously, you'll see that's the main road that I was standing on earlier on. So actually I just came out of the shopping centre and I thought I'll have a cigarette, and I was talking to my daughter on the phone, so I decided to come and walk up here because it's away from the main road and she can hear me much better. And then that actually made me realise that this is a great little place to do a video, so I'm going to take you around and see what I see. I hope you're enjoying these videos because I just really love exploring, whether it's Ukraine or any other country that I go to. I really like to just walk around and just explore. You can see this new looking building there. Look, that's very nice. Lots of nice balconies there, people's houses. You can see around the corner here there's a couple of nice properties there, look. And then this was an interesting thing, I thought, so I'm going to walk down here and see what happens when I get to the end. I suspect there may be some more green spaces, some more buildings and things like that, but we shall see. So I will smoke my cigarette in the background where you cannot see me. Yes, I have that dirty habit of smoking. And let's go for a walk. So look at that. So that's a green space that's attached to those buildings there, look. Again, you can see, look, you can see in the background seats and all things like that. That's like a school actually, doesn't it? I think that may be a school or some type of education centre, something like that. So we will keep walking down here and see what we can find out. Again, you're not very far away from the main road. However, it's really peaceful. I'm not sure if you can hear the birds singing in the background. There's a beautiful sunset. It's been a really nice day today here in Kharkiv, 23 degrees, which is very unusual to somebody like me, being a Brit, of course, because, well, we don't have that much great weather in the UK, as I'm sure you know, because, well, we all like to talk about the weather all the time, and that's because we don't have a great deal of good weather to talk about. But anyway, enough about the silliness of Brits. Let's see what we find when we get to the end here. So you can see there's lots of trees everywhere. Everywhere you look, there are trees. Again, I'm going to comment on the fact that this doesn't show itself in the UK anymore like it used to do. When I was a child, there used to be trees absolutely everywhere. Pretty much every street that you would go down, they would have tree-lined streets. But that, unfortunately, is not the case anymore. And not everywhere is like that. I must admit, there are still some very beautiful places and lots of tree-lined places. But it's usually in certain places where there are big streets, where the trees are away from the houses and the properties and things like that. So look at this here. What do we see here? Okay, let's go around here. So this looks like some wild green space there. And this is another thing. Nature is just allowed to be nature here, in my experience. Of course, it's only anecdotal evidence, really. However, I have been in quite a few places now, not just in Kharkiv Oblast, but in various oblasts around Ukraine. Something that's dilapidated and fallen apart there. Maybe looks like old garages or something like that. Ooh, look at these. Look at that. Goodness me. Wow. They look fantastic, don't they? Some beautiful, interesting plants around here. So, what do we get around the corner? I'm pretty sure that is some kind of education facility behind me now. You can see quite clearly the way things are designed in the grounds, the beautiful coloured fencing and things like that. So that's probably a local school or some kind of centre. Whether that's still being used as a school or not, I don't know. Many children in Ukraine are, of course, having distance learning. And actually, our friend Karina, the last several years of her education were distance learning because of the full-scale invasion. So she was a victim of that as well, which is really, really sad and unfortunate, because we know from COVID and lockdowns and things like that in the UK just how much damage that has done to children in terms of their emotional development, not being able to, you know, meet with their peers. You know, you learn conflict resolution and all sorts of things like that by being together, and so it is a great shame. And then of course the education that some children unfortunately got very, very behind on, because they don't have that support of the class there. So I'll turn around here, look, some interesting old apartment blocks there in the background, but again you can see that everywhere, even where it's old Soviet blocks, there are trees everywhere, beautiful trees and grass verges. I think I walked around here with Karina before, yes I remember, and there's some kind of industrial facility there in the background. I'm going to take you back down this part of the street, because if I remember rightly, when we came up here before, there's a beautiful archway down here, I think, on the left hand side, if this is the correct street that I'm talking about, and so I will show you that. It did look much better in the night time than it did in the daytime, so it was evening time last time Karina and I were here. We just came walking around, just did a little bit of a stroll just before we went back to get the last metro back to where I'm staying. It's only about 2 stops from here on the metro where I'm staying, so it's not too far away at all. It's just 1 stop on one green line, and then cross the line, and then it's 1 stop on the red line, so not too far at all. So come enjoy my evening walk with me. Somebody's walking their doggo there, look, so I'm going to be doing this more often as well, and hopefully exploring some different areas. There's lots and lots of things to see. Slobodski district is quite a big district actually, and so I will take some time to explore different parts of it. There's a Metalist stadium that I'm going to take you all to, which is not too far away from here, about 10 minutes walk I believe, if Google Maps is not lying to me, that is. But of course Google Maps does that sometimes, but that's just the way it goes. Sometimes it takes you on interesting routes which actually help you discover new things. Sometimes it can be really annoying when you're trying to get somewhere on time and you end up being late, but maybe it's just me that doesn't know how to use Google Maps properly. I don't think it's really just me, because everybody has this running joke in Ukraine that the pins on Google Maps are never right, but there you go. So, is this the street where I found that beautiful archway with Karina? I think it is, yes. So, as I said, it doesn't look as nice in the daytime. We saw it when it was all lit up in the evening time, and it looked really beautiful. But now I'm going to show you anyway. We're going to walk past here, and we're just going to do a little bit of a circle back round to where I started, and then I'm going to be going and jumping on the metro and taking those few stops that I told you about. So there you can see that archway there, look, that's the one I'm talking about, and when it's all lit up in the night time it looks beautiful. But somebody else over there walking the doggo, look, it's dog walking brigade time, as I like to call it in the UK. Again, look at the trees, the flowers everywhere you go. Let me just zoom in on that grass verge over there. That looks like heather over there. Those beautiful orange coloured flowers there, so you can see all sorts of different things. Great big massive fern tree here, right on the path, look, right on the pavement and the grass verge there. Absolutely stunning. Yes, you can probably hear me lighting my cigarette in the background. Sorry everybody, this is the reality of daily life. So I'm not putting any airs and graces on these videos. I'm not editing out the background and the noise and things like that. I want these videos to be as natural as possibly can, so that, you know, it's for all you people that are not able to come here, I want it to be an experience as if you're here, as much as it possibly can be, of course, without you actually being here. So, over there in the corner of the opposite side of the road, you can see the Ukra Pochta, look, the very famous Ukra Pochta. You can also see these little stalls that I've talked about at the side of the road, selling all sorts of different things. And here we're just walking back around the corner now, next to this big main road, where it was very noisy previously. although it's a little bit quieter at the moment, but I'm sure that noise will increase. There you go, as the cars set off and the noisy bikes go past. Look, everywhere you look, up every corner, up every alley, there are green trees and spaces. Absolutely beautiful. So where are we going now? Further back up here. So I think that will probably bring us back to the end of this little clip and video, and then I'll just show you one more thing up here actually, and then I'm going to go jump back on the metro. What I wanted to show you here is across the road at the other side, you'll see in a moment. You can see the Anteco over there, which is a pharmacy. You see those everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I'm really, really impressed by that. You know, in the UK, you've got to walk sometimes, or even sometimes drive or get a taxi to find a pharmacy, especially one that's open late at night, which is really quite bad. And especially if you've got an emergency situation where you need emergency medication or treatment. So I don't know if you can see over there, look, you see that white box there, just under that blue sign there? That's where you get water from. What's fantastic about these is because you can't drink the water, you can't cook with the water that comes out of the tap here in Ukraine, so everybody has to buy bottled water, and instead of you going to the supermarket and buying bottled water, which is really, really very cheap anyway, you're looking at between about 45 and 65 hryvnia for about 4 to 5 litres, depending on what type of water you like, and that is very, very cheap. To me, that's about £1. 53 hryvnias is about £1, but you can get it even cheaper in those machines over there, and as is everything in Ukraine, pretty much everything is digital, so you can usually pay for most things by using your card or your telephone or something like that, and you can even do that in these machines over there, or you can put cash in them as well. Look at this beautiful pavement here. I'm really impressed by things like this, being a bricklayer that I am, and I did extra years at college to learn to do what we called in those days wall and floor tiling with bricks, which is really not tiling, because tiling is something different that we think of. It's an old-fashioned way of describing paths and driveways that are made with brick, and it's a lot harder than you think to do something like that, and especially to make it as neat and tidy as the ones that I see here. I saw some incredible pavement work in Kyiv actually. I remember one day with Karina, we walked past a place where they were actually putting the pavement down, and we call them soldier bricks when they're all standing up in a line, because they're all stood up straight like soldiers, you know, and so it really is absolutely incredible the way that they do one. This one needs a little bit of repair, look, as you can see, but this is what happens over time, so we can understand that happens everywhere. Goodness me, if you've seen the roads and paths in the town where I live in Devon, you'd be like, what on earth? People are always complaining about breaking their tyres and different parts of their car, suspension and all sorts of things, but let's not moan about the UK all the time, because, well, there's a lot of good things about the UK as well, of course. So now I'm back to where I started, back on the main road, and then I'm just going to go up here and around the corner to where the metro station is. So I will see you all maybe tomorrow. Ta-da! Skoro zobaczymy.